Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Olivares, and I'm excited to share insights on linguistic diversity and accent bias in instructional design. This workshop is designed for corporate and educational training settings where effective learning programs must accommodate linguistic diversity to ensure accessibility and equity. By the end of this workshop, participants will rule. Recognize the impact of linguistic diversity and accent bias on learning environments, understand how perceptions of expertise and credibility are shaped by speech patterns, learn strategies to design inclusive instructional content that embraces multilingual approaches, explore ways to reduce language-based biases in workplace and academic settings using adaptive learning methods and inclusive communication strategies. Through this workshop, we will examine how language diversity strengthens learning environments and discuss actionable strategies to foster inclusivity and equity. Defining linguistic diversity and accent bias. Linguistic diversity refers to the variety of languages, dialects, and accents present in educational and professional settings. It includes multilingual individuals, regional dialect speakers, and those with non-native accents. Despite its importance, linguistic diversity is often overlooked, leading to biases that impact learning and workplace experiences. Accent bias, for example, can influence perceptions of credibility and expertise, affecting interactions between educators, students, employees, and trainers. To create equitable learning environments, we must address these biases and implement inclusive communication strategies. Current issues in linguistic diversity and accent bias. Linguistic diversity plays a vital role in shaping education, workplace interactions, and accessibility, yet several challenges persist. Linguistic inequality in education and workplaces. Higher education institutions often overlook language diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, reinforcing linguistic inequality. In corporate training, this translates to bias in hiring, promotions, and workplace communication, while in educational environments, it affects student engagement and instructional accessibility. Policy and representation gaps. Without strong policies to protect linguistic diversity, language-based discrimination persists in legal, educational, and corporate settings. Many governments and organizations lack strong policies to protect linguistic diversity, leading to language discrimination in legal, educational, and workplace settings. Highlighting these gaps encourages businesses and institutions to develop more inclusive communication strategies, such as multilingual resources, unbiased hiring practices, and adaptive instructional methods that ensure all voices are valued regardless of accent. Positive growth and advocacy efforts. Organizations like UNESCO and linguistic research institutions are working to preserve endangered languages and promote multilingual education. Corporate leaders such as Intel and Meta integrate multilingual resources, AI-driven translation tools, and bias awareness training, fostering inclusive learning and professional environments. This inspires participants to adopt best practices and implement strategies to reduce accent bias in corporate training and instructional design. Connections to universal design. Universal Design for Learning, UDL, provides a framework for inclusive instructional design, ensuring that both corporate and educational training settings accommodate linguistic diversity and accent bias. The three core principles of UDL, engagement, representation, and action, and expression, align directly with the need for multilingual accessibility in both corporate and educational settings. Engagement. Individuals process and engage with information differently, especially multilingual learners and those affected by accent bias. To foster engagement, instructional design should include multilingual resources, interactive tools, and bias-aware learning environments that encourage participation regardless of linguistic background. Representation. Ensuring diverse learners access and interpret information effectively is crucial in corporate and educational training settings. UDL promotes varied instructional formats, including audio, visual, and multilingual text-based information, helping learners overcome linguistic barriers and comprehend content effectively. Action and expression. Learners should be able to demonstrate their knowledge in multiple ways, avoiding assessments that disadvantage non-native speakers or individuals with diverse accents. Instructional designers can use adaptive learning platforms, verbal alternatives, and inclusive assessment strategies to minimize accent-based bias and enhance participation. By integrating these UDL principles, corporate trainers and educators can create inclusive learning environments, ensuring linguistic diversity is celebrated rather than perceived as a barrier. Designing inclusive workplaces. Linguistic diversity is a key aspect of workplace inclusivity, yet accent bias can create barriers to communication and equitable opportunities. To truly foster a culture that values diverse linguistic backgrounds, workplaces must be intentionally designed with accessibility, adaptive policies, and inclusive communication in mind. Physical design and accessibility. One of the first steps towards inclusive workplace design is ensuring physical spaces support linguistic diversity. Multilingual signage and translated materials help employees access information in their preferred language. Flexible workspaces encourage open collaboration, allowing individuals to feel comfortable expressing themselves no matter their accent or level of language proficiency. Additionally, AI-driven speech-to-text tools and translation software bridge communication gaps, ensuring every employee can fully participate in workplace discussions. Inclusive workplace actions and policies. Beyond physical design, organizations must implement policies that prioritize inclusivity. Universal design principles help minimize the need for individual accommodations by making accessibility a core part of workplace structure. Instead of treating linguistic diversity as an afterthought, businesses should integrate inclusive hiring practices, multilingual training programs, and bias-free leadership development. Prioritizing workplace accessibility isn't just about fairness, it also improves engagement, retention, and productivity. When employees feel valued and empowered, they are more likely to contribute meaningfully to their teams and organizational goals. How employees can be successful allies. While organizations play a role in shaping inclusive environments, employees also have a responsibility to advocate for equity and communication and interaction. Successful allies advocate for inclusive practices by supporting workplace policies that reduce linguistic barriers, encourage open communication by fostering multilingual conversations and embracing diverse accents, educate and empower colleagues by promoting diversity training and inclusive learning opportunities. By integrating these strategies, workplaces can transform linguistic diversity into a strength rather than a challenge. Ensuring inclusion in corporate and educational training settings leads to stronger collaboration, deeper engagement, and a more equitable workforce. Advocates and workplaces leading in linguistic diversity and inclusion. Several advocates and organizations have been recognized for their efforts in promoting linguistic diversity and reducing accent bias in instructional design and workplace environments. Dr. Rohini Anand, one of the most foremost leaders in diversity, equity, and inclusion, has transformed workplace policies to ensure equitable hiring and training practices that support linguistic diversity. Her leadership at Sodesco helped establish bias-free recruitment strategies and corporate training programs that embrace multilingual employees. Dr. Anand's contributions have earned her worldwide recognition. She has been named one of the top 30 diversity and inclusion leaders to follow and inducted into the Inclusion Hall of Fame. She has also received the prestigious Catalyst Award for advancing workplace diversity, and her leadership ensured Sodesco ranked in Diverse Inc.'s top 10 for 11 consecutive years. Another advocate making an incredible impact is Charlotte Sweeney. She is a renowned DEI strategist and consultant, recognized for her transformative work in workplace inclusion. As the founder of Charlotte Sweeney Associates, she has worked with global organizations to foster equitable work cultures and drive meaningful change. Her expertise spans multiple industries, developing DEI-focused leadership programs that integrate linguistic diversity and accessibility, creating bias-aware training models to reduce accent bias, and providing DEI consultancy to ensure inclusive learning environments. Google has emerged as a leader in linguistic inclusion through AI-driven initiatives that support multilingual accessibility. The company has expanded Google Translate to over 110 new languages, ensuring greater workplace accessibility. Additionally, Google Research is developing machine translation systems capable of translating across 1,000 languages, making workplace communication more inclusive for employees from diverse backgrounds. Microsoft is deeply committed to linguistic diversity. The company has integrated AI-powered translation tools, multilingual instructional programs, and bias awareness training into its global workforce policies. Microsoft Global Diversity and Inclusion Report highlight how empowering employees from different linguistic and cultural backgrounds fosters an equitable workplace. These advocates and organizations set a strong example in reducing accent bias and promoting linguistic diversity in corporate and educational training settings. By following their lead, businesses and institutions can ensure that every employee, regardless of language or accent, has equal access to opportunities and success. Key connections and takeaways. Linguistic diversity and accent bias directly impact workplace inclusion, instructional design, and professional development. In both corporate and educational training settings, addressing these challenges ensures fair opportunities and equitable learning environments for all. Why employees need to understand this. Language shapes workplace success. How employees perceive expertise and credibility is often influenced by speech patterns and accents, leading to bias in hiring, promotions, and leadership opportunities. Recognizing this helps break down linguistic barriers in professional settings. Diversity strengthens collaboration. Multilingual workforces drive innovation, problem solving, and global expansion. Companies that embrace language inclusion foster stronger teams and more successful business outcomes. Universal design creates equity. Implementing universal design for learning strategies ensures that training materials, workplace policies, and communication tools are designed to support linguistic diversity. Employees play a key role in inclusion. A bias-aware workplace culture depends on active employee allyship. Employees must advocate for inclusive communication, challenge accent bias, and normalize multilingual interactions in both instructional and corporate settings. Learning opportunities. Linguistic diversity and accent bias shape the way we communicate, collaborate, and learn. To continue building more inclusive work and learning environments, here are 3 resources that explore these topics in depth. Documentary, Talking Black in America, which examines the history and social significance of African American English. It highlights how language perception influences workplace and educational experiences, offering powerful insights into linguistic diversity. In this TED Talk, How Language Shapes the Way We Think, Cognitive scientist Lyra Boroditsky explores how language shapes thought and perception. She explains how different languages influence decision-making, memory, and even how we express time and emotions. Understanding this relationship helps us create bias-aware learning environments that embrace multilingual perspectives. Finally, Pascal Macias' TED Talk, Why Inclusive Language Matters, examines how language choices shape workplace culture and inclusion. He discusses how subtle changes in communication can reduce bias, increase engagement, and foster a culture of belonging for multilingual employees. These resources provide valuable perspectives on linguistic diversity and workplace inclusion. I encourage everyone to take time to explore them, reflect on their insights, and apply them in professional and instructional settings. The more we educate ourselves, the better we can create environments where language differences are celebrated, not seen as barriers. Thank you so much for watching today.